Hi, Coach Alexander here, continuing our discussion about how to think about the GMAT, what it really represents, and how to maximize your training so that you have fun and that you learn skills. So let's begin with this idea that's going to make sense to you. For one reason or another, all business schools and other schools require you to take the GMAT. Now, these schools aren't stupid. They also don't want to waste your time and money. Okay, you have to pay to go to the school, you have to earn the right, but these schools are training you for business. So they try to make things as efficient as possible, and yet if they make you go through the process of studying and submitting, or preparing and passing and submitting a GMAT score, there's got to be a rationale for it. I looked for this rationale a lot, and I went through a lot of arguments. Doesn't matter, the GMAT doesn't show anything, etc., etc. Well, whatever those arguments are, the point is the schools aren't dumb, and I truly don't think that they would make you do something if you didn't need to do it, because they're still business schools, okay? They're not all perfectly efficient, but they have a market mindset. So in fact, that's what they're training you for. And what has been discovered and what is shown is that the people who are most successful in general, and this comes from my personal observations, I work with executives and young professionals, and it's at one point even teenagers and older people, and a lot of professionals and executives going to different schools and having different life plans, maybe starting new businesses. Well, in general, the trend and psychological literature supports this. The people who have the most openness, openness means openness to new thinking, openness to new ideas. It's a little like extroversion, but not as much about having to deal with other people. It's more about being curious about the world and things of that nature. Well, the more successful those people are. Successful people learn from mistakes. So there's no such thing as really a mistake in that sense of the word. There's only a lesson. The only mistake you could have is if there's no lesson that follows. Now, I don't want to get into all the wonderful stories in real business about it, but business schools understand this. Moreover, there are things that are layered into this exam that a lot of people don't think about it because they follow some training regimen like sheep, and they never actually put in their own ability to do it. So this is your opportunity, and I've seen the greatest success happen with people who know how to learn. They teach themselves how to learn and how to alter what they're doing in order to maximize what they want. So, in this case, talking about the GMAT, what we want to do is we want to maximize our skill. So what is the growth mindset for the GMAT? Well, the key is to ask the right questions. Not just about the specifics that you're doing, but in general. And to also put it in perspective of what you're doing. You're trying to gain certain skills. Yes, you could look at it, oh, I need to reach a certain score. Yeah, but to reach that score, you need to gain certain skills, because your score is a reflection of certain abilities. Abilities that the business schools believe are useful, like we talked about. The mathematical properties, some of the other stuff, that's just the absolute underlying foundation. The real stuff is how you do it. Okay, the real stuff is how you do it and how you find the drivers. Those of you who are familiar with what I'm about to say about industry, what you look for are your drivers. Our revenues have gone down or have gone up. Why? You have to chase that back several times and find the real reason. And later, as you will study, usually you have to ask the question why several times before you identify the correct driver of your cost or of your profits or something like that. Well, the GMAT is actually quite similar. And the people who are the best learners in terms of teaching themselves how to learn, I don't mean diligent, like I can sit here for 12 hours and do these problems. That's not really learning, that's work. Work which may not get you results. But the first of the right questions is to pull yourself out and for whatever problem that you're doing, After you're done doing it, you need to sit back, relax, take a breath, and search within yourself the answer to the question, what is really being tested on this question? And I'll tell you something, your teachers won't really tell you. Because most of the programs that I have seen, they don't really get into the underlying ideas and psychologies of this exam. They just try to say, okay, hey, we got some ways that will help you solve problems. We've got some tricks and things like that. And that ends up very often not in quite the results that you want. But if you're smart and after you're done with the question, you have to assume, okay, for some reason, the GMAT created this question. They tested this question. We won't go into details, but it takes a lot of time to put a question on the GMAT. So they must have had a motivation of why they did it. They did it because there's something in there that they want me to be able to manipulate. Okay? And most people don't ask this question, but you should start asking it, and within a very short time, you're going to start being able to identify it. What's another question we could ask? What is the underlying concept? We are so busy trying to find the answer that what we're doing is we're skating around on ice. You know, there's a famous philosophical saying where you are, fishing for minnows or fishing for sardines while standing on a whale. Okay? So that's what you do when you do questions and just try to find the right answer. You're fishing for sardines. You're never going to get that question again. That question is unlikely to appear on the official exam. So what's important is not the answer, but how do you get to the answer by first learning to identify the concepts. And then what you do is you practice, again, similar to phase one, you teach yourself to identify the concepts quickly and to understand everything that's around it. So if a concept has something to do with triangles, you have 5 absolute rules in your head made by the universe, consistent with our evolutionary past, that tell you this is how triangles work. Humans did not invent triangles. We discovered these laws. Okay? So that's what you want to do. You want to see what is the concept being tested. Then you want to say what exactly is being rewarded. Now these questions relate. What do we mean by that? Because it's a game. Because every question on GMAT is a little case, it's a little game. You have 5 answer choices. 4 of them are not acceptable, and only 1 is acceptable. So the question is, what is going to reward you for being able to do that? What exactly is being rewarded? That's what you should say. And it could be different things. It could be my ability to organize data. It could be my ability to be very diligent in doing some calculations. It could be my ability to relate this to this. It could be my ability to see that there is a cause and effect happening, or my ability to see that there's a mistake happening from an observation to a cause and effect conclusion, or whatever it is. The next question, of course, is how do I best improve this skill or these skills? Which skills? The skill that's being asked for on the question. Notice, it's not just, okay, how do I answer this question? It's, what is it made up of? And how do I get so good at these individual things that when I see a question, I will have more ability to, and more access to answering it. So these are the things that you want to focus on. These are the things that successful people focus on. Especially part 4 in all forms of business and in school. And the good schools want to see that you have the ability to do that and to think smart. There's more information on our website, and of course we have a lot of other great videos that have similar topics that are consistent with what we're talking about here, and I really know that it's going to help you in your preparation.